Aloha team, it's Bowie here. Last day at this beautiful island, Maui, then I'm back to do some awesome work. There's a lot of questions about adversity and stoicism, so I thought I'd touch on that today. Adversity is real. It's something you can't avoid. It's something you almost need to budget for, both in life and in business. 3 years ago, I went through some adversity, and only for 2 weeks I asked myself all the wrong questions. Why did this happen? And focused on the things I can't control. And then once I immersed myself into stoicism, there's a prayer or a meditation, but it's not a religious thing, but the Stoics have a saying which is, please give me the serenity to accept the things I can't control. Please give me the courage to change the things I can control. And please give me the wisdom to know the difference. And that was a paradigm shift for me. And that's when I focused on what I could control, which was in my inner marketplace, which was just doing great work. And frankly, I didn't sweat on the small stuff. Frankly, I didn't care what people thought. Frankly, there was things I couldn't control. But in saying that, the Stoics' 4 virtues also include courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice. And if you look at that, I look at last year that just occurred, for example, and I think to myself, well, it was very easy for me to provide a label on what type of outcome last year was. And I learnt from last time, 3 years ago, not to label what type of outcome. And 3 years ago, I just called it an outcome. And then later on down the track, I learnt that it was actually a good outcome. Why? Because a lot of great stuff came out of it. For example, 3 years ago, if I labeled what happened to me as a bad outcome, well then, language is important. Language creates emotions. But I just didn't provide a label for it. I was outcome agnostic, if that makes sense. And as a result, I wrote a book. I built $1 million business. I was involved in cast selection and some advising on a little show called Lux Listings. I bought into 2 great businesses. So 3 years later, I can actually now call that a great outcome, not necessarily a bad outcome. So last year that just passed, I learned that not provide any labels at all, because the last year that passed, for the first 3 months, I had an illness which wasn't great. Then my dog passed away, who was my best mate, after 12 years. That wasn't great, but I didn't label it. Then a family member very close to me suffered from cancer. I didn't put a label on it. And then my real estate business was affected because I was distracted, even though my coaching and consulting business still thrived. So now that it's 2023, because I didn't provide outcomes or labels for those outcomes, I'm actually in the best place I've been, and all those so-called challenges, if you like, have all done a complete U-turn. And now me, my family, my health, everyone, and my business is in the best place it's been. So I suppose my tip to you is budget for adversity. Don't be so quick to label outcomes bad outcomes. Be outcome agnostic initially, because what you'll find is those so-called bad outcomes could be great outcomes. And also remember the 4 Stoic virtues: wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. God bless, and live with virtue.